Hey everybody, welcome to Tuesday, where we check out the Scholarium vendor and Infinite Archive vendors to see what new goodies they have for us. We're here in the Scholarium. Let's see what he has.
Ancient.
All right, we're starting off with Bound Affix Script Empower. Adds Empower, a buff increasing heavy attack damage. Bound Focus Script Trauma. Adds Healing Absorption effect. And finally, we have Bound Signature Script Thief's Swiftness. Adds improvement to your mobility. All right, let's go see what IA has for us. All right, we're in Infinite Archive. Let's see what Filer Ul has for us.
Don't complain to me if you...
All right, we're going to skip books for now. Let's start off with the Academ's Almalexia deck fragment. This one is found occasionally after defeating Herald Seekers in the Telvanni Peninsula and Apocrypha zones. So basically, if you have done enough Bastion Mimics and done the killing of the Herald Seekers ahead of time, you probably already have this one. At 7,000 Archival Fortunes, I think it's kind of steep. I would probably skip this one and just go kill some Herald Seekers if you haven't already. Our map this week is Murkmire. This brings you Brightthroat's Boast, Champion of the Hist, and Deadwater's Guile. However, Murkmire treasure maps are going to be really cheap. There's nothing really special that drops in Murkmire. Some decently solid gear, but other than that, it's going to be fairly cheap. Even at 2,000 Archival Fortunes, I think that's a little pricey. Okay, our scripts. Bound Affix Script Evasion. Adds Evasion, a buff reducing damage from area effects. Bound Affix Script Magicka Steel. Adds Magicka Steel, a debuff granting Magicka Restoration to attackers. Bound Focus Script Generate Ultimate. Adds Ultimate Generation. And Bound Signature Script Anchorite's Cruelty. Adds a Consume Soul Gem to deal Oblivion damage effect. All right, I'm excited. This week we have our Zaan's mask style page. This, of course, drops out of Scale Color Peak. The hard mode is pretty tricky unless you have a really good coordinated group. It's a little bit more difficult to do with pugs, for instance. I think this one is a decent buy this week. Next up is Companion Equipment Jewelry. You guys know I say that jewelry is probably the only place that I would gamble as far as companion equipment is concerned. That's because companion equipment purchased in Infinite Archive is bound, and you don't know what trait it's going to be. Thankfully, with jewelry, you don't have to worry about if it's light, medium, or heavy. Jewelry is jewelry, so there are several traits that would work here, which means you have a better chance of getting something you can use. And at 5,000 Archival Fortunes, I want a little bit more of a guarantee typically. Jewelry gives me that over something like heavy armor. All right, our leads. We have Dried Pus Pockets. This is for the Spore Savant body marks. Here are the Spore Savant body marks. They look like mushroom tattoos. This lead drops out of the delve in Telvanni Peninsula called Anchor Egg Mine. So not too terribly difficult to get. That said, I don't have it yet. Whoops. But not too difficult to get. It's just a delve boss. All right. The next lead is Ebony Forged Dwarven Limbs. This, of course, is for the Ebon Dwarven Wolf mount. This has been out for a while. A lot of us already have this one. But if you still need it, it is from the world boss in Cold Harbor, Zemric Thu. Might be a little bit difficult to get if you don't have a group. Whether you can solo him or not, kind of up to your skill level and build. I probably would want to go in with a friend or two. If that's more difficult for you, 5,000 Archival Fortunes is not horrible. Get your mount. All right, speaking of mounts, we have the Malographic Ichor for 15,000 Archival Fortunes. If you consume 50 of these, you get the Ichor Most Malevolent Achievement and the Malographic Mount. This is a guaranteed drop to start off with when you do your Infinite Archive dailies. If you took 50 of them and bought them each for 15,000 Archival Fortunes, you would be in here for a lifetime anyway. So just do your dailies. It's not worth 15,000 Archival Fortunes when it's a guaranteed drop at least once a day. All right, next up, 6 House Tailor Shears. This is one of 7 pieces of the 6 House robe costume. This one comes out of Forgotten Wastes in Vardenfell. They've increased the drop rate. This is actually not a bad place to farm XP when we have our double XP event coming up Thursday with the Witches Festival. I would skip this one, maybe if it's your last one that you have left, but at 7,000 archival fortunes, they're honestly, even guild traders, look at this. TTC suggested is 676 to 846. I would rather spend 700 gold than 7,000 archival fortunes. Just me. All right, let's go to our books. A Brief History of House Telvanni. This is a handsome book. Just fancy enough. This one drops in Infinite Archive. The eidetic memory comes out of Tel Dreloth in Telvanni Peninsula. If you're not sure how that works, we have a link below that explains everything. And then our next one is this nice open book, Stonefire Ritual Tome. This one drops out of Scrivener's Hall, which has a notoriously horrible RNG. I have run Scrivener's Hall so many times, and I have gotten maybe one book out of the chests. I'm buying these every time they come available. However, you will need the eidetic memory. You can see that I can't purchase this one because this character has not apparently been to Broken Tusk in Shadowfen to pick up the eidetic memory. Okay, that is everything that Filer Rule has for us. Let's run a couple arcs of Infinite Archive and see what Overland gear is dropping this week. Okay, we just ran 2 arcs of Infinite Archive, and here's what we found. From Overland gear dropping, we have Grotwood. That includes Green Pact, Ranger's Gate, and Cirabane's Grip. And then we also have our DLC, Northern Elsewhere. That includes Call of the Undertaker, Crafty Elfique, and Vesture of Darlek Bray. Now, something I have learned while doing this is that if you don't own the DLC that something drops from, you don't get it. So if you don't have Elsewhere, you won't get the Elsewhere pieces. Likewise, if you don't have the DLC where a lead drops, or a fragment drops, or a skill style piece drops, you will also not be able to get that. So you can only purchase things in the Infinite Archive vendor if you have that expansion or DLC. So just something to note, it's a little disappointing, but I suppose it makes sense. Anyway, that is it for this week. We'll see you in the next one.